Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new Doctor Who topic video for today. So for this video, I'm going to be 100% honest, it was going to be a crown jewel, but with the announcement of Doctor Who going on to BBC iPlayer, which means you're going to get a load of people going back and revisit classic Doctor Who now, which is something I have got a few friends who, like my friend Freya, who does want to dive into Doctor Who, and she's doing it so well, really, with watching the 5 Doctors and the 3 Doctors and Remembrance of the Daleks. I kind of want to do a video list to kind of help her dive into it, and of course with my best friend Jamie Arrowsmith, who has dived a little bit into classic Who, thanks to me basically giving him Doctor Who The Collection Season 2 for the 60s and a few random Doctor Who DVDs here and there. So yeah, so with classic Doctor Who joining BBC iPlayer, I kind of wanted to do a quick guide to what stories I recommend for those who want to get into it. So I'm really been looking forward for me to do this video. I mean, it was going to be my crown jewels for season 2, but I'm going to push that back until Friday, just because with the announcement with classic Who coming down to BBC iPlayer, I kind of wanted to do a recommendation video for people. So yeah, this is what this is. So for the first Doctor, there are quite a few stories I do recommend because it's the first Doctor, you cannot miss it. So I've got some stories for season 1 and season 2. Season 3, I'm going to try and recommend one of the stories because the other 2 stories that are existing they're good, but not really generally ones I do highly think of recommending. And then, of course, when we get to season 4, it's mainly Troughton stuff. So, yeah. So, sit there, dive into this video. So, for season 1, I recommend The Daleks, which is a fantastic story to dive into because it's what got Doctor Who on the very high note. And also, it introduces us to the Daleks for the very first time. And this is what Doctor Who got on Doctor Who on the big mainstream. So the Daleks, it's set on Skaro, and of course we see one race of Daleks. Basically, these ones are being powered by static electricity, which really just play into the plot of the Daleks. And then, of course, when the Daleks' second appearance, that's when they kind of changed it a little bit, which is quite good. Then, of course, we have the Aztecs, which is my favourite historian episode from the first Doctor's era. The Aztecs is set in the 15th century. You've got the Doctor's companion Barbara trying to pretend that she's kind of this god that's come back to life and wants them to change and stop in sacrifices. But it doesn't go well to plan. I mean, we do have an epic line from Hartnell. "You cannot rewrite history. Not one line. Believe me, I know. I know." So that is what I recommend for season 1. Season 2, I would recommend the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Because 1, it is an iconic story. 2, it says it's the very first goodbye to a companion, aka the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan. And also, it gives the Daleks the very first time they actually do invade Earth for us viewers. And with a minor upgrade since the first story, the Dalek, this story is just absolutely brilliant. The second story I'd like to recommend is, of course, The Chase. Now, The Chase is where you kind of got the Daleks having their own time machine and chasing after the TARDIS team. And, of course, Ian and Barbara leave at the end of the story, which is another iconic story, especially called The Chase. And then the third story I like to recommend is, of course, The Time Lord, where we basically meet another Time Lord who has his own TARDIS, the Meddling Monk. And this is the first time we actually do meet another Time Lord. The Meddling Monk is a fantastic character. The story is set around about 1066, so it is a prehistoric story, but with a Time Lord being in the middle of a time and basically meddling around with the course of history and just before the Battle of Hastings as well, which is kind of a good story. I enjoy. Season 3, there is only one story I do recommend, and it is the War Machines. Because this is the first time the Doctor shows he won't be intimidated, and Hartnell gives us a great performance in this story. Season 4, I'm going to try and recommend some of the existing stuff. I don't know if the animations are going to be put up for with the surviving stories. I don't know if the animation stories will be put on to BBC iPlayer for them to watch, like Power of the Daleks and a lot. So I think for season 4, I would say try and watch the 10th Planet, because 1, it introduces the Summon and it introduces into the regeneration side of it as well, and it's Hartnell's last story. Power of the Daleks, I would recommend if it is put on there. If not, try and track down the DVD releases of it. Power of the Daleks, it was animated back in 2016 and re-released in 2020 as a special edition. You can get either version if it's not on BBC iPlayer. I do like Power of the Daleks. I think it's a fantastic story. I do also have to say the Macra Terror, if that's been put up there for animation as well, which is quite good. And the Evil of the Daleks. Season 5, Tomb of the Siren. Basically, Tomb of the Siren. It is an iconic story. It's one of my favourite Simon stories. It is one of my favourite Charlton stories, and I do highly recommend it. Then, of course, we also have the Web of Fear. I do highly recommend as well, and the Enemy of the World for Season 5. Season 6, all of it. All of Season 6. I do highly recommend to watch all of Season 6, including the Invasion, the Seas of Death, and, of course, the War Games, which are fantastic stories, but I do highly recommend the entire whole Season 6. It's just basically an incredible season. Season 7, again, I'm going to try and recommend Sparehead from Space and The Inferno, which are two iconic stories from that season, but I do highly recommend to watch the entire 7th season. Season 8, I do recommend Turf of the Autons, I recommend The Mind of Evil, I do recommend The Claws of Axos, and of course, The Daemons, which is fantastic. I would say to watch Connery in Space, but it's not one of my favourite stories. So, yeah, watch it if you want to watch it. If not, just watch the entire season. Season 9, either watch the entire season or basically watch The Sea Devils or Day of the Daleks, which are two great stories, and The Curse of Paladin as well. Season 10, again, all of it. Season 10 is just another iconic season. It's one of my favourite seasons. It's my favourite Pertwee season. It's got the Three Doctors, Carnival of Monsters, Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks, and of course the Green Death, which are 5 iconic stories. Season 11, again, it's one I'm kind of growing onto. So I would highly recommend the Time Warrior, Death to the Daleks, and the Monster of Paladon, and Planet of the Spiders. The Invasion of Dinosaurs is up to you if you want to watch it, but you can watch the entire whole season if you want, with it being on BBC iPlayer. Season 12, into my favourite Doctor now, aka Tom Baker. Season 12, I would highly recommend all the way through. Actually, I'll just recommend all of Tom Baker's era because it's Tom Baker. He's the most iconic, popular Doctor. You get to watch all of his story. Season 12, if you want to watch a couple of stories to get into Tom Baker's run, then Genesis of the Daleks, the Santon Experiment, and the Ark in Space, and Robot. I do highly recommend them. I would say watch Revenge of the Cybermen, even though that is one of my favourite Simon stories, and it's the only Simon story for Tom Baker. Season 13, the entire season. Just the entire season, you get to see how good that season is. Season 14, I would highly recommend Hand of Fear for Sarah Jane's Departure. The Deadly Assassin, which is basically a Time Lord story, and the Doctor has no companion. Face of Evil, Robots of Death, and The Titans of Wing Chang, I do highly recommend. Season 15, all of it. Just watch the entire whole season. Season 16, again, watch the entire whole season. Season 17, again, just watch the entire whole season. The seasons 15, 16, 17, just watch the entire whole season because I do quite enjoy them, but they are very, very low in the 4th Doctor ranking. Season 18 is my 4th favourite season for Tom Baker. It is Tom Baker's last season, and it's the favourite season in the 80s. I would recommend the entire season, but I've actually would recommend basically watching Magless. No, not Magless. Mugless. Oh, can't think of the name, sorry. But we do have that story. Then, of course, we've got the East Space Trilogy with Full Circle, State of Decay, and Warriors Gate, which you do have to watch all the way through. And then, of course, you've got the last 2 stories, basically the Keeper of Trocken and Logopolis, which are Tom Baker's. To me, they are fine, fantastic stories for Tom Baker. I really enjoy Keeper of Trocken. And I just enjoy Logopolis because Tom Baker says a goodbye, and his basically final words are amazing. For Peter Davison, I would say for season 19, for me, I would say basically Cash Trafalgar, Four to Doomsday, The Visitation, and Earthshock. I do highly recommend those stories. The rest of the season's pretty of a hit. For me, it's like a bag of mix. You've got some good stories, you've got stories that are mainly just okay. There are no bad stories, apart from Black Orchid, but the rest of the season's average, but I do highly recommend those I just mentioned. Season 20, all of it, just the whole season. I mean, this season's just been released onto Blu-ray, and it's become my favourite Davis season. It's becoming my favourite Davis season. The stories I do highly recommend for this one is all the way through. Also, I do highly recommend The 5 Doctors. just the 20th anniversary special, which is now 40 years old. Watch The Five Doctors. It is an incredible story. Season 21, now I do highly recommend Frontiers, Resurrection of the Daleks, The Caves of Androzani, and The Planet of Fire. Those are the ones that are very, very strong. If you want to watch Colin Baker's first story, then The Twin Dilemma, but I highly wouldn't recommend it. But you do have season 22 for Colin, and then for that one, I do recommend all of season 22. It's just an iconic season. Season 23, again, all of it, because it's a whole story arc, which you kind of do need to watch the entire season. Season 24, I do kind of recommend basically Paradise Towers and Dragonfire and Time and Arani, where I don't really recommend Delta and the Bowman. It's a okay story. It's not one of my favourites, but it's one I do generally go back and watch now and again. Season 25, all of it. My second favourite Sylvester McCoy season out of the main seasons in my top 5 seasons. It's my third favourite season. It's got Remembrance of the Daleks, The Happiness Patrol, Silver Nemesis, and The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. And then Wing Bang Boodle, we have season 26, the last final classic season, and the entire whole season. Just basically the entire whole season, I would say just watch, because... But there is only one story I do highly recommend from season 26, and that is The Curse of Fenric, one of my personal favourite Doctor Who stories. And now we are actually in October. I will give this story a rewatch for Halloween, because it's definitely one of those stories that I just feel like watching at Halloween time, because it's very, very gruesome. It's got some great moments in there, especially with the Heavenfall, kind of like vampire stalk creatures. Again, just a fantastic story. And that is it for Classic Who. Yes, we do have the TV movie, which I do kind of recommend, because one, it's the only chance to watch Paul McGann in the role of the Doctor. So yeah, go and watch it. Just go and watch the TV movie when it gets uploaded. And then you probably have watched all of Modern Who, and then of course you've got all of Modern Who to rewatch as well. But those are the ones I do highly recommend for classic Doctor Who fans. So let me know in the comments, what ones are you looking forward to watching? Which one of these recommendations are you looking forward to? Thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe and share, and join for more awesome Doctor Who content.